where they are 10-2 at the Peterson Event Center here on campus. We are set for the opening tip, ready to go. Great to have you with us tonight as we get started, and Pitt wins the opening tip. Well, Joey Brackets has Pitt in the NCAA tournament field right now following their loss to Wake Forest on Saturday. They have a very favorable schedule the rest of the way, including a game like tonight, where of course they're favored at home.
But Obi, with the non-conference schedule not going very well for the ACC, one of my comments earlier was that you would have to win about 13, 14, 15 ACC games to get an at-large bid if you don't win the tournament. The Panthers, with 5 losses already, don't need to give away an opportunity on their home floor tonight.
The Virginia team getting out-rebounded for the year. Rather shockingly, they have turned it over more times than their opponents. That's very un-Virginia-like.
Yes, that's something that we haven't seen from Virginia much, but a very young team, Ron Sanchez having to coach right now, and the inexperience is shown throughout the season.
Well, both teams off to a choppy start on their first possession here inside the first minute. Typical to see Virginia whittle it down to the last few seconds of the shot clock. Ron Sanchez, who spent 10 years as Tony Bennett's assistant, and he had previously served as a head coach at Charlotte between 2018 and 23 as well. Zach Austin giving it up here to Cameron Corrin at 6'10". Flipped up and in by Ishmael Leggett, the 6'3" senior, one of the 2 standout guards for the Pitt Panthers. Virginia with their starting lineup. And keep an eye on Dai Dai Ames. He's a guy who can really explode beyond the 3-point line. McNeely top at 42% beyond the 3. Ames with a pull-up here, and that's going to be off target. And tipped out off of Austin, and that means out off of the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, miscommunication by the Panthers. Jalen Lowe as well as Zach Austin both going after the same rebound. You would expect for someone to be vocal, let them know that they have it, but as a guard, that's your opportunity to get out of the way. Make sure the bigger guy gets the rebound. It's more important to his stats.
That's right. Well, here's McNeely coming up 19 points on Saturday. Also 7 assists. He's an outstanding passer. Going high off the window, but that won't drop. And Pitt wants to run. Oh, in transition, he comes in averaging 17 points a game. Leggett on the spin, little fall away, and it rolls out.
But you see how dangerous the Panthers guards are getting into the painted area. We saw Leggett with the runner earlier, and they are intent to getting into the paint, trying to break down Virginia's defense.
Ames up top for Rohde, one of the 2 starters who returned from Tony Bennett's last NCAA tournament team. Ames beyond the 3. McNeely on the dish, and a whistle and a foul on the play as Virginia looked to go inside, trying to get it in strong to the 6'11" Buchannon. And that'll send Buchannon to the line. Buchannon, the 6'11" sophomore out of Idaho, only 54% at the foul line.
And Buchannon starting to give Virginia more positive minutes in the post area. Virginia playing without Elijah Saunders for the 3rd straight game, who is their leading scorer in the post, 2nd leading scorer on the team, and also their leading rebounder. So it's been a benefit to guys like a Blake Buchanan, to Jacob Kofi, because they're getting more opportunities. But for Virginia, it's been difficult having to go without Saunders on the floor simply because of how much he provides on you both offensively and defensively.
Corrin gets a touch, he'll take it out. Back off for Lowe, who's only 28% beyond that 3-point line. He's going to drive it with that left hand nifty move there.
But that's where he's so dangerous, especially when you switch and you've got a much taller player trying to defend him on the perimeter. Jalen Lowe's as quick as it gets in the ACC. Hard for a big guy to step out and guard him on the perimeter.
Well, as ever, Virginia does not want a track meet of a game, and they're only scoring 63 points a game. So they do not want to go up and down with the Pitt Panthers tonight if they can avoid that. Ames off for McNeely, and that's going to be off the front of the iron. Rebound tipped, and a nice job moving inside to grab that one by Anthony Robinson, and he'll draw the foul.
But that play was made by Blake Buchanan's ability to be able to attack the offensive board. And on the other end, the previous possession, Jalen Lowe off the bounce, the lefty going off the left foot, and the left-hand layup to keep it away from the shot blocker in Robertson.
Robinson, the youngster, the freshman who's starting to get a lot more playing time from Ron Sanchez here in recent games.
Yeah, without Saunders, they've been able to get guys more minutes and more experience. A redshirt freshman in Robinson, so he's getting an opportunity to be able to get true game minutes. And that's truly the only way to develop at this level, is to see what you do against opposing competition.
Saunders going to miss his 3rd game. That's 12 points, 6 rebounds a game for the 6'8" junior.
And a 40% three-point shooter. So add that to the mix. But his presence has been missed more on the defensive end, OB, than it actually has offensively. Virginia's given up 50% from the field to its last 2 opponents without Saunders on the floor.
You mentioned it, both coming off heartbreaking losses. Virginia losing by 1 point on Saturday on the road at Virginia Tech, and the Pitt Panthers losing by 2 against Wake Forest in a game they had a chance to win. Ames will give it up. Back outside beyond the 3-point line. He'll launch one and knock it down. He can be instant offense.
He absolutely can, and he can be a much welcome added addition to beyond the 3-point arc when you consider, we know Rohde can shoot the basketball. McNeely, the best from percentage points in Virginia history, right behind, well, right there with Kyle Guy. So when you think about the fact that these 2 guys can be dynamic from beyond the 3-point arc, and that's when Virginia's normally successful. When they're making threes, they've had some big scoring games.
Well, Isaac McNeely with 42% beyond that 3. Certainly a difference maker. Ames will launch another one, but no, and the rebound will be tipped up and in by Robinson.
And again, for Virginia, whenever you get multiple opportunities on a possession, that's going to help you out. Robinson attacking the offensive glass. We saw Buchanan come up with one earlier, and give Virginia a lot of credit for the way they continue to fight for Coach Sanchez, even though things haven't necessarily gone their direction.
And they're in a 6-0 run, and that one turned over by Pittsburgh. So we'll take a timeout. Our first media timeout, coming up a closer look at Ron.
Well, that he doesn't control the outcome. All he can do is influence the players that control the outcome. And if you live each and every day based upon the outcome and the score, it's going to be a miserable life. It's simply about building the relationships and allowing your players to be confident to help them be successful.
I'd love to pick up a road win. Virginia 2-7 on the road. Their last defeat was at home. Buchanan trying to get a handle on it underneath. Nice pass in the lane. Robinson gets it back to him. Buchanan missing the bunny underneath, and finally a whistle. And Virginia had many good opportunities there right near the cylinder.
And that's the 4th and 5th offensive rebounds early in this game for Virginia. They had 3-0 advantage in points, in second chance points, and now opportunity for Buchanan to get more. But when you're looking at what Virginia's doing right now, playing with the 2 bigs on the floor, these are young guys. They came in together. Of course, Robinson redshirted his first year. But when you get these opportunities, as Dai Dai Ames gets to the rim, you have to take advantage of it. We talk about being younger players. This is what is helping the front court right now for Virginia, getting these minutes in live game action, but an empty possession on that one.
Buchanan, the only returnee to play in every game last year. 6'11" sophomore. Dunn up top. He had 24 against Wake Forest on Saturday in that heartbreaking defeat for them. Shot clock is down to 7. The pull-up pop, and that'll clang away off target by Austin. It'll rattle free. Virginia will scoop it up on the hands of Rohde. McNeely thought about a way downtown 3. Certainly very capable of hitting that. Tay Murray in, the 6'5" senior. Back off a long one, and that'll be nothing but net by Rohde.
And Rohde, who missed the Miami game, coming back against Virginia Tech, looking more and more comfortable. He's had to take on more of a role as a point guard throughout this season, and more of a playmaker. Actually leads Virginia in assists per game.
There comes a long one by Lowe, and that one clangs away. They'll be knocked out by Pitt.
Obi, we talked with Jeff Capel earlier today about having to get over a heartbreaking loss on the road. if you watch this Pitt Panthers team right now, it looks as though they have a little bit of a hangover. Virginia has come out with a much more positive attitude and approach to this game than we've seen from the Panthers, but it looks as though some of the players may have a little hangover from that loss on Saturday.
Virginia certainly the crisper team. Shot clock winding down. Dunn had to fire it up there. Won't go for him. And another rebound here by the Cavaliers. Murray takes it out high near the logo. Here comes McNeely's shot. That won't drop.
But that's the aggressive Isaac McNeely that Virginia needs. He's averaging over 20 points per game in the last 4 games. They need him to be aggressive, not only to create opportunities for himself, but his teammates as well.
Leggett tripped up and fouled. Pitt without a score in the last 4 minutes. And give you a look at the resume right now. Net of 35, just 1-6 against quad ones. Beat Ohio State, beat West Virginia, and Joe Lunardi right now saying they are among the last 4 in. And
which is part of the reason why they can't afford bad losses. And again, tonight against Virginia, who was 3-8 in the ACC, 10-12 overall, this will be considered a bad loss if Pittsburgh is unable to win this game.
No doubt. Low to penetrate, lost the handle.
James Murray doing a great job getting a hand in and then diving on the floor after the basketball. And for the first, 7.5 minutes of this one, Virginia's just been much more energetic and quicker to the basketball, loose balls, etc.
Yeah, 4 turnovers for them, just 1 for Virginia. McNeely looking to keep it rolling. Ames will pull up and pop and drained it. Got a great look and sunk the shot.
And when you're Dai Dai Ames and you have opportunity to go up against a Jalen Lowe, who many consider to be, if not the best, one of the best point guards in the league, this is something that you take personal, and you see Dai Dai Ames is absolutely taking it upon himself to be more aggressive throughout this game and going right at Jalen Lowe.
Leggett trying to dump it downstairs. Tough catch and batted away, and that was McNeely forcing their 5th turnover for Pitt.
Great effort by McNeely to be able to get back into that action, knock it away, and then come up with the basketball as Virginia continues to fight. It's one of the things Ron Sanchez told us. His team is fighting, so he's going to fight for his team. One of the reasons he got a technical foul in the game on Saturday against Virginia Tech.
Ames with the shot clock to 6. Good interior ball movement. The shot's going to drop there for Robinson.
Anthony Robinson giving Virginia great minutes early. Coming off when you consider, I did not know that Mr. Rogers was a Pittsburgh legend. I know about, of course, Roberto Clemente. I know Frank Harris. I know all of that. But Jason Williford, associate head coach at the University of Virginia, is family. His mother, Barbara Fajerski, by the way, is from Pittsburgh.
Really?
So he has a tremendous amount of family here. He's normally always giving me the Pittsburgh history. But he didn't tell me Mr. Rogers was here.
This was his town.
Yeah.
And right now the Cavaliers making it a fun place for them.
Absolutely is. Off to a great start. And again, when you consider both teams coming off of heartbreaking losses over the weekend, you always want to see how your team responds. And so that's the thing. We watched Virginia in shoot-around earlier today, and they had a very positive attitude. That's what we were talking with Ron Sanchez about. His job is to make sure that these guys are confident, that they're enjoying their experience. It's not about the outcomes. The outcomes will take care of themselves if they're confident.
10 to shoot here for Pitt and for Leggett. Leggett will fire it up long range and not there. The tough rebounded by Rohde, 6'6" junior. And Virginia up on top 16-4 to 15-0 scoring run. And for Pitt, it's been over 6 minutes since they got on the board.
This defense is starting to remind you of the Virginia defense we've watched for the last 15 years under Tony Bennett. But you've got to give the guys a lot of credit for continuing to fight, even though things haven't gone well. But offensively, Virginia is slicing up the Panthers right now, getting everything they want on the offensive end of the floor.
Ames with the quick strike, 18-4. And one very quiet building here, trying to end the scoring drought. Finally, a whistle underneath as we get it over to Myron.
Yeah, Jeff Cable in that time was furious with his team. He talked before the game about toughness. He said he didn't like that his team wasn't fighting hard enough. He said you've got to fight through screens, and you got to watch sure you're not getting screened and thrown off your path. That was the biggest message during that time of this team being tougher against Virginia.
Myron, you and I talked with Coach Cable earlier today about how he was responding after the loss. And he said it was tough for him to get over, but of course you got to move on. Does it look as though his players have moved on?
Corin going hard to the 10. He'll draw another whistle and a foul. That was with 9 on the shot clock. But it's been 7 minutes, this scoring drought for the Pitt Panthers on their home floor. And a foul will go against Tane Murray. Well, the Duke alum felt his team got snubbed last year by the selection committee. Despite 22 wins and 12 wins in the ACC. And they were boxed out of the NCAA tournament.
I'm in agreement with them. I thought they also should have been invited to the tournament a season ago. But the narrative of the ACC being down, I believe, absolutely affected both Pitt and Wake Forest last year. And it's amazing to me how there still could be 5 teams from the ACC to make it, and what in all honesty has been a year that has been unlike any other in ACC basketball. So if you're going to say a year has been down, this would be the one. But the ACC's gotten 5 teams in the last 3 consecutive years. So how was it, how is that the case where you're still possibly going to get 5 when you were supposedly down when the league was much better and you do so much damage once you get to the tournament?
I think for a lot of folks, the feeling is there's Duke head and shoulders.
Yes.
So much higher than everybody else. They showed that against Carolina, certainly. Shot misfires by Rohde. And here come the Pitt Panthers trying to string some points together. Leggett on the entry. They're really looking for Corin in that paint, and he'll draw another whistle.
And McNeely was limping on the other end of the floor. He fouls Corin there. But keep an eye on Isaac McNeely, of course, extremely important to the success of the Virginia Cavaliers. And right now, you can see something going on with McNeely as he'll check out of the game.
So the junior from West Virginia hits the bench. We're recapping teams inside the conference and a look at their resumes. And of course, Duke at the top of everything, 11-0, 15-game winning streak. Cooper Flagg's been off the charts, 23 points per game in ACC play.
And Ishmael Leggett gets another field goal, only the 3rd field goal for the Panthers, and 2 of them have been by Leggett in this game, attacking the painted area where we were expecting to see the Panthers guards in the paint all evening long, but Virginia's done a great job keeping them out of the paint as well as knocking down the 3. The 3rd made 3-point field goal for the Hoos.
And Ames 38% out there, absolutely drilled it. Terrific ball movement to find the open shooter. Dunn trying to get started. He can really get rolling offensively, but not this time. And a foul here against the Pitt Panthers over the back. And the big Guillermo Diaz-Graham, the 7-footer, whistled for that foul. As we recap Clemson, you and I will get a look at them coming up on Saturday against the Duke Blue Devils.
And we've got a special guest going to be joining us for that one as well. Welcome back, of course, to the legend, Dickie V. He will be joining us on Saturday, Duke versus Clemson.
Cannot wait.
Texting with Dickie V today. He was talking about how excited he was. Obi, I think I may be more excited. You've worked with Dickie V a lot, but it will be my first time. I'm looking so forward to it.
I think we're going to have a great time. And just seeing him back where he belongs, right courtside, any court in America, frankly. But I know the folks at Clemson are going to do a great job for Dickie V in his return. Charlotte from the corner will knock it down. And everybody getting in the act offensively for Virginia.
And Virginia now 4 of 8 from beyond the 3-point line. 50% shooting the basketball extremely well. We said in the beginning, when they're making threes, they're dangerous. 14 3-point field goals against Villanova in a neutral site was probably their biggest win of the year.
Straight on, but that won't drop for Lowe. Rebound comes out high, and Virginia has it again. Virginia's getting to every loose ball.
They are. They're quicker to the basketball. They're playing with way more energy. And you can see the frustration on Jeff Capel as he's watching his team. Pittsburgh, Iowa State, and Kansas all lost on Saturday. Kansas, with a 19-point halftime lead, lost by double figures to Baylor, at Baylor. So I'm sure Bill Self, without much time to spend getting his team prepared, definitely got the message across to them in practice.
Dai Dai Ames with a touch. He's been a hot hand for the Cavaliers with 10. Sharma coming off the bench, firing away. It just hit one moments ago. Virginia's run in this game, by the way, when they ripped off a 17-0, was their longest such streak of the season so far. Austin on the drive, got too far underneath, and he's going to turn it over with a traveling violation.
And Obi, I'm going to tell you what it is. Here's the secret. We'll tell the world. It's the orange uniforms. Virginia wearing the orange uniforms for the second time this season. They did not wear them for 15 years. Tony Bennett's first year wore the orange uniforms at Duke. Got beat by 30. Never wore them again. Now, mind you, I was doing radio for Virginia Tony Bennett's first year. Team wasn't that good. So if you're going to base anything upon that,
right,
it shouldn't have been taken away the best colorway of uniforms that the University of Virginia has.
So with Tony, I'm not surprised. Once again, they get a good shot but can't convert. Here comes Lowe. He will drive it, fire it short. Went for his own rebound, knocked out a play by Virginia. And Pitt right now just not cohesive offensively. Two great guards in Leggett and Lowe, who combined for 34 points, 10 rebounds, and about 9 assists per game. But they've been shut off for the most part.
They have the 3 field goals, as Lowe is able to get another one. Now they have the 4 field goals, 2 apiece. But everything has been attacking the paint. All that Pitt has thus far is layups.
Over the top and the slam as Buchanan goes up high to slam it in.
But Virginia handling the pressure very well, and that is an area where they struggled early in the season. So Ron Sanchez preparing his team for the pressure, handling it well, getting the easy bucket. Not sure how long Pitt will be able to stay in that.
Austin too strong. Robinson with the rebound. Virginia certainly not looking like a 10 and 12 team.
They absolutely are not. But and that's one of the things their staff talked to us about today. These guys are fighting. They're just young and inexperienced, but they're still continuing to fight, learning each and every day. And now you're starting to see some of the fruits of their labor.
McNeely trying to penetrate and kick. Ames deep in the corner. Shot clock a factor now. Down to 3 as he lets it go and hits it.
And Dai Dai Ames has the reputation of being a scorer. Hasn't had a great scoring season, but you're starting to see a little bit of his scoring prowess now, knocking down his 3rd 3 of this first half.
And a whistle here. 5:26 to go in a quick moving first half.
As the shot clock starts to run down, this is an opportunity for Dai Dai Ames to really make an individual play. I believe they counted that one as a 2.
They did.
It looks as though his left foot was on the line, so 2 for 3 from beyond the 3-point arc, but still double figures. Ames averages just over 6 points per game. Has already doubled his average here in the first half.
Good officiating crew here tonight. Ron Groover, Clarence Armstrong, and Tommy Morrissey.
Ron Groover gave us the ultimate compliment earlier today. He says his wife loves us. I mean, you don't hear that often.
I'll bet we've had Ron on the floor in games we've done 15 times this year. He does a terrific job. 8 seconds on the shot clock. And a whistle. A foul on that play. And that'll go against Isaac McNeely of Virginia, his 2nd. Now Ron Sanchez really happy with the way things are going on the road here in Pittsburgh tonight.
The road has been a struggle for the Hoos.
As we mentioned, 2 and 7. And Leggett can't hit the first one. This is a team that didn't miss a foul shot on Saturday. They were 20 for 20.
Right, we get a look at Dai Dai Ames, whose foot was on the line. They called that correctly as a 2. But still a bucket for Virginia as they continue to operate extremely well on the offensive end of the floor. 52.6% from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. The only thing they haven't done to this point is shoot free throws, only 4 of 7. But they'll take where they are offensively in this first half.
Only 10 points for Pitt. Now, one note about their foul shooting. They're one of the great foul shooting teams in the country. Pittsburgh makes 80%, and we're wondering how they get beat over the weekend, because the other guy went 20 for 22,
Yeah,
right?
Pitt set a school record of made free throws without a miss in the game, 20 for 20, but Wake Forest made 20 of 22, another very good free throw shooting team. And Wake made 2 more threes as Dai Dai Ames continues to cook.
Wow, Dai Dai saying nighty-night. He is loving it here tonight. He's made it 30-10. He's had a tremendous first half. New arrival from Kansas State this year, Jorge Diaz-Graham, who makes 59% beyond the three-point line with a rare misfire for him. Indicative of the kind of first half it's been for Pittsburgh. Not much going right at all.
No, and they can't stop Virginia as they get a turnover finally. An opportunity to get Jalen Lowe out in transition to see if he can take advantage of it.
Lowe gives it up for his backcourt mate. Leggett off the spin. No. And that's going to go the other way. The foul will go against Pittsburgh. And they will get Diaz-Graham, Jorge, for the foul. Well, this is a stunner. I know it is for that man right there, Jeff Capel, that his team is down 20.
And it's probably more of a stunner that they only have 10 points. This Panther team averages over 86 points per game in this building throughout the season. And so they've always played well offensively here. At times their defense has let them down, but it's never been their offense in this building in front of their home crowd.
Dai Dai Ames, the story. Dai Dai with 14 in the first half, came in averaging 6 for Virginia. Lowe looking to make a move. On the drive and kick. Shot clock at 6. Here's Cummings. Fires that one up there, and he'll draw the foul as he attempts a three-pointer. So he will be at the line to shoot 3. Tane Murray with the personal.
Dai Dai Ames having himself an evening here in Pittsburgh. The crossover, the step back, knocks down the 3, leading the way with 14 early points for the Hoos.
Yeah.
Dre, I absolutely would show a Dai Dai, but they're on VHS, and that's the problem. I'm not sure if anybody has VCRs anymore. I got to get the highlights.
Tough to get.
Digital.
Yeah. Tough to
get those digital. Yeah, tough to get nowadays.
But I mean, to Seth's point, and you and I came on the air talking about the exact same thing. These are simply the kind of games, if you're the Pitt Panthers, you cannot come out like this and play in front of your home fans.
And that's the story. Again, being here at home after a tough loss on the road, one of the things that associate head coach Jason Williford told his team in Virginia is that they're going to be perturbed. I'll use that word. That's not what he said, but that they're not going to be happy coming in here after the way they lost on the road. But we have not seen that Pittsburgh team. We saw it from Jeff Capel earlier, but we have not seen it from his guys on the floor.
Kofi got downstairs. Pitt defended him very well. Loose ball. Shot clock is at 1. They need
Sharma
a heave.
doesn't know.
He doesn't see it, and that's a shot clock violation. Ishan Sharma let it expire. He was not sure of the clock at all, and it cost him.
But those are the type of plays that Ron Sanchez has talked to us about. It's just inexperience, that they haven't been in the situation before, and so oftentimes they'll make mistakes and plays that end up costing them the game, especially in a one-possession game like the game against Virginia Tech at home on Saturday.
Sharma, the freshman from Canada. Jorge Diaz-Graham will give it up. As mentioned, he is an outstanding three-point man at 6'11". Here comes one, and nothing but net.
And that's what Jorge Diaz-Graham absolutely does. He is a shooter, and at 6'11", he can get his shot off against pretty much any defense. He's on the floor right now for Jeff Capel to provide some offense.
They hit their first 3. Not a lot of time left before halftime, but a lot of time left in the game for the Pitt Panthers. to claw back into this thing, which they're trying to do, but a tough move downstairs. Buchanan with the bucket.
And you can see the confidence for Blake Buchanan growing each and every game. OB, this young man had 18 points in his third career game for Virginia and has not reached that point since. So again, he's had some struggles and battled with some confidence throughout his career thus far, but having a strong performance here this evening.
Low on the move, 17 points a game. He'll take the knock with 1:39 before the break. And 32-16 Virginia. And two of the featured Super Tuesday college basketball matchups, number 14 Kentucky and number 25 Ole Miss squaring off on ESPN at 7. On ESPN2, number 13 Texas Tech and Baylor. Back on ESPN, out to the West Coast, prime time between Arizona and BYU.
We talked about bounce back Monday, where you got a little bit of bounce back on Tuesday as well. Kentucky, who took a loss on the home floor, going to Ole Miss, where you and I were on Saturday. Auburn, the #1 team in the country, was able to come into Ole Miss and get a win. So both those teams going to be going at it. Of course, every game in the SEC is extremely competitive and meaningful as well.
That is a tough environment. They had a great crowd. Third best crowd they've ever had for an Ole Miss basketball game. It's an outstanding effort by Auburn on the road. Here's Rohde with 8 to shoot it for Virginia. Already trying to take the baseline. That comes free, and they turn it over again. They've had a number of those here the last 3 or 4 minutes. And Lowe will back it out. Leggett airborne, 2.
One thing's for certain, you are absolutely going to have to deal with the guards from Pittsburgh attacking. They're going to try to get into the painted area. Ishmael Leggett now with 3 field goals, and all of them have been in the paint.
Buchanan on the high post. Here's Dai Dai Ames, who has been magnificent in the first half with 14. Was a 20-point lead down to 13. Already thought about one and tipped away with 5 on the shot clock.
But if you look at the lineup, you've got the starting backcourt and then 3 reserves on the floor for the Panthers right now. Jorge Diaz-Graham bringing a lot of energy right now, getting a deflection and putting Virginia in a tough spot. Only 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
And Virginia will take a timeout. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. We had 32.4 to go in the first half here. 32.4 seconds before the break here at Pittsburgh. And Virginia has been outstanding. They have stunned the Pitt Panthers, who are 14-7 and 10-2 here at the Pete.
But danger time now for Virginia. It's important to go into the halftime locker room with positive momentum.
Ames wants to drive it. Scoops it. Got another one.
And that's how you get it. Dai Dai Ames now up to 16 first half points. He has been nothing but positive momentum for the Hoos here in this first half as Jeff Capel calls the timeout, wanting to get a good look at the end of the first. We'll be back in 30 seconds to see what Coach Cape draws up in the huddle.
Jeff Capel drawing up the play here. His team down 34-19.
And what you don't want to do is give Virginia another opportunity. So even though you're down, 15 points right now, you want to make sure you get the last shot of the half, because the worst thing that could happen for Pittsburgh, even if they do score, is to not be able to stop Virginia at the end of this half. So you want to make sure you get the last shot, if possible, and get some positive momentum going into your halftime locker room.
In for Lowe. Jalen Lowe coming off a 4 for 14 shooting performance on Saturday.
And Jeff Capel screaming to Brandon Cummings, we're going at 10. He doesn't want to go too early.
6 seconds before the break. He goes around the back, steps inside, airmailed it. The scoop is off the 10. Diaz-Graham almost had a spectacular basket there. Not a lot went right for Pitt in that first 20. A lot did for Virginia, and to 11. So that's significant. And the score hugely significant for the Pitt Panthers. They do have 20 minutes to do something about it. And Virginia with the basketball to open up the second 20 minutes here in Pittsburgh.
And Virginia was really able to have a lot of success without their leading scorer, Isaac McNeely, getting going, as well as their second leading scorer, Elijah Saunders, who's not playing in this game. So give Ron Sanchez a lot of credit for preparing his team, as Dai Dai Ames is able to come up with the steal on the first possession defensively for Virginia.
Yeah, Leggett just lost it. And that's the kind of first half it was. It begins much the same the second half for the Pitt Panthers. Buchanan with a little hook. That won't drop. And a whistle before the basket. And so wave that off. That'll go against Kofi of Virginia as we check in with Myron.
Well, I talked to Ron Sanchez briefly as he was coming out of halftime. He had a big smile on his face, fellas. And I said, what was the message? He said, nothing too hard. Share the basketball, play together, continue to play good defense, and that was it.
And Myron, you remember Coach Sanchez telling us earlier, don't get too high, don't get too low. It's his job as the leader, as the head coach, to make sure he stays even keel. So in the halftime locker room, when things are going well, he can't be too excited, because the extra level of excitement may cost his team in the second half. He has to keep it even keel, which of course Ron Sanchez always does.
Ames will pick up the foul.
Obi, we look at the lineup for the Panthers. To start the second half, you've got three of their traditional starters in there. However, Rohde, Diaz-Graham, and Papa Amadou Kante at the free throw line right now. Both those guys came in and gave the Panthers some energy, some life at the end of that first half. So Jeff Capel rewarding those two guys with starting them here at the beginning of the second half.
Papa Amadou Kante at the line, 6'10" freshman from Senegal, who missed all of last year to a knee injury. And his second, got that. And again, Pitt, if it does come down to foul shooting, they have an advantage over everybody they play. And I mean anybody in America, because they hit 80%.
Yeah, struggled a little bit from the free throw line throughout this game. Only 7 for 11, but of course you call that a struggle when you're coming off a game where you win a perfect 20 of 20 on the road at Wake Forest.
Rohde gives it up. There's McNeely on target with a triple.
And we talked about Isaac McNeely didn't really get going much in the first half, but knocks down his first attempt here in the second half. And if Virginia gets him going, they can absolutely be dangerous.
Low determined drive in amongst the trees, lost it. And that was ill-advised. And a turnover for the Pitt Panthers, who at home are averaging 87 points a game. They love to play here at the Peterson Event Center, where they're 10-2. But they have only 20 points 2 minutes into the second half. Pretty remarkable.
It absolutely is, and you know Virginia will absolutely use as much clock as necessary. Here you are, under 5 seconds, taking a shot. So you're not going to have as many possessions if you're the Panthers, but you can't get it all back at once.
The big underneath, two bigs colliding there. Buchanan got up high, and a rejection for Virginia.
And when you have, of course, Amadou Kante on the floor, you don't have the scoring ability that you have with Cameron Corrin, but Corrin not necessarily having that energy earlier that was satisfactory to Coach Jeff Capel. So going a different direction to start the game.
Underneath with a slam and a big dunk by Kofi, the 6'10" freshman. And Virginia showing no signs of let up here in the early moments of the second half.
And Virginia operating their mover blocker offense, that pocket pass, which of course has been a symbol of greatness for Virginia throughout the Tony Bennett era. Ron Sanchez going back with some of that offensively.
Diaz-Graham will launch that. He's got a sweet touch.
He really does. He can absolutely catch fire. Was a perfect 4 of 4 against West Virginia. Had 12 points in that game, knocking down 4 3-point field goals. And Jeff Capel has him on the floor now, looking for an offensive punch.
You're going to look at that, whether it was a 3 or a 2 during the next dead ball. This one definitely a 3-point attempt, but it won't drop. Buchanan keeps it alive. Rohde will swing it. Here's Dai Dai Ames with another one rattling in, a 3-pointer.
But you know the best part about that, off the offensive rebound, Dai Dai Ames didn't wait. He didn't look to run clock. He's on fire. He figured, I'm going to let it go ahead and fly now, not waiting for another opportunity.
He sure is. A career high 19 points already for Ames. Leggett outside the three-point line and nothing but net.
The response from the Panthers, however, they're going to have to find a way to get some stops, slow Virginia down, because Virginia operating on all cylinders here offensively on the road.
Ames, the sophomore from Chicago, has carried the load for Virginia and then some.
You know what it is, OB? It's the orange. He played for Mac Urban Fire out of Chicago. They wore the orange and black uniforms. Maybe Dai Dai's feeling at home with the orange on.
He's accustomed to scoring big. He grew up in Chicago and idolized Derrick Rose like so many others, but he also left his mark on the Chicago hoop scene. The Proviso West Holiday Tournament has hosted some of the greatest Illinois high school players of all time, including Derrick Rose and John Shire. But Dai Dai, who played for Kenwood Academy, set the all-time mark at that tournament with 65 points. He might not get there tonight, fellas, but it looks like he's going to get close at this pace.
Yeah, he just might.
And Dai Dai playing for my guy Mike Urban when he was coaching at Kenwood back in the day, and of course also playing for the Urban family of Mac Urban Fire, the Nike EYBL. And when we talked about in the first half, his reputation is a scorer. He's not the traditional point guard. With Jalen Worley opting to transfer after Tony Bennett stepped away, he became the de facto point guard for this team, OB. That's not his game. What we're seeing from Dai Dai tonight, this is truly what his game is, getting a bucket.
The spin and the fall away, left that one short. He is really feeling it. Well, he made 16 starts at K-State as a freshman. So you're right, a legit scorer. Pitt trying to claw back inside. Here's Graham hitting the deck. Austin will launch one up there. That won't drop.
But you see, OB, this is just a different Panther team. We watched them against North Carolina on this floor last week. A huge performance to get a win, as well as a huge performance from Zach Austin, who made 3 threes in that game, 3 of 5, but had a strong performance even on the defensive end. He hasn't been able to get going, as well as the guards haven't really been able to get too much on the offensive end of the floor tonight.
Shot clock down to 4. Rohde with a long one and nothing but net, way downtown.
Virginia now 7 of 14 from beyond the three-point arc, continue to have success. And when they're shooting the basketball like this, it opens up so many different opportunities for their guys on the interior to get easy ones as well as get offensive rebound.
Leggett with a pull-up, yes. Leggett, the 6'3" senior, averaging 17 and also 6 rebounds. Their guards really get to the glass.
They get to the glass. They got great rebounding guards. You're talking about a combination of guards, 6'3" and under, that both average over 4 rebounds per game. That's rare in college basketball. Pitt has it, but they also average close to 34 points a game, and that's not happening for them right now.
Boy, Leggett really getting down there to dig it out on the run. The kick here for Diaz Graham, and that won't fall.
Missed opportunity for the Panthers. Should have been an easy layup. Ends up being a tough three-point field goal opportunity for Jorge Diaz Graham, which he can knock it down, but that was one Zach Austin should have been able to lay in if it had been a better pass.
Underneath and up and in, a quick strike by Buchanan.
But we just mentioned, OB, when you're shooting the basketball this well, it opens up opportunities on the inside. When 2 defenders have to go with McNeely, it makes things available for Buchanan on the inside. He'll be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame when his career is finished.
As Austin knocks down a three-pointer. And you and I get a chance to be there to cover him one more time. We've covered him so many times. He is one of our favorite people, one of our favorite coaches, but one of our favorite people because it's a great story, too.
It's a great story, but he's been a great mentor to so many, as we see Robinson with the offensive foul. Talked with Jeff Capel about Coach Ham earlier today. He talked about how important he's been in his life. And Jeff is the son of a coach. But at the same time, his father was the first one telling him to listen to Coach Ham. Coach Ham would have insight for him. Monty Williams, who's NBA Coach of the Year, talked to me about how Coach Ham talked him out of coaching college basketball and going into the NBA. And of course, he's been a tremendous mentor to me since I was 17 years old and he was recruiting me back in the day.
And now that you're 19, let's go to Myron.
Leonard Hamilton, obviously a lot of stories of him helping coaches around the country, especially black coaches. He was a salesman at Dow Chemical when Joe B. Hall called him and convinced him to resign and take an assistant job with Kentucky to become the first black assistant at Kentucky. So that was a monumental phone call that happened between Joe B. Hall and Leonard Hamilton that affected and impacted college basketball history.
It's a terrific story.
But Myron, here's the thing. He was only at Dow Chemical for one day. He went to work on Monday, and when he got the call, he didn't even call in to tell him he wasn't going to be at work on Tuesday. He bought a flight, went straight to Lexington, and never went back to Dow Chemical.
It's actually one of my favorite coaching stories I've heard in like the last 10 years. And at the line, Guillermo Diaz-Graham, he'll be shooting 3 here. Of course, he was on the receiving end, talking about Diaz-Graham of Cooper Flagg's coast-to-coast dunk on January 7. You and I saw that as well.
We did.
I still personally think it's the best dunk I've seen all season long.
And again, it's up there, but Kelly Flagg, Cooper's mom, told me that she actually liked Cooper's dunk against Kansas over Flory Badunga even more so than that. Myron and I, and we think that it's Ian Jackson's dunk. We think Ian Jackson's dunk was even higher as we get an opportunity to look at North Carolina's season recap. He's been doing this throughout the game. 6-5 record in ACC play, and they lost 4 of their last 5. And this weekend, they'll have an opportunity for retribution against this Panthers team who could be coming in very angry if they're unable to come back from this 14-point deficit.
McNeely with the kick out. Rohde on target. Right down to the very end of the shot clock.
And when you look at Virginia, it's shooters all over the perimeter, especially with Dai Dai Ames playing the way he has. McNeely, Tane Murray, and Rohde on the floor. All 3 of these guys are very capable from beyond the arc.
At the moment, Virginia does not look like a team that's going to let Pitt back in. But we shall see. A long time to go, 12 minutes. And Leggett can have a big say in that. The dish underneath to Corin, who used to play for Leonard there at Florida State. And he will draw the foul by Blake Buchanan. So 11:53 to go. Pitt down by 17 at home to Virginia on a big Monday.
At South Carolina, get to go see my little big sis Dawn Staley do her thing on the sidelines and get to see Gino Auriemma as well. So looking forward to that.
You've got quite a schedule coming up. Not to mention the 6 games a week you call.
Well, that day will be squeezed in between you and I at Stanford versus Duke, and then Duke at UVA.
That's right.
So that's the Saturday Monday combo. Sunday I'll spend in Columbia, South Carolina.
Pittsburgh playing a little beat defense here. Dunn knocking that one away.
And Panthers trying to turn up the pressure. Virginia has been susceptible to pressure throughout this season and struggled with it at times, specifically in the Memphis game at home, but they've handled it very well. Ron Sanchez has talked about how his team continues to improve. They're growing up on the fly. And this is not a team constructed of grad transfers, of 5th-year guys. This is a young team.
McNeely off a little curl will knock it down.
That's the leader of the team in McNeely, and he is a true junior. He's in his 3rd year of college right now. So you consider this is a young, inexperienced team, but not playing like it tonight.
Pittsburgh getting it downstairs for a quick strike. They had a 4-0 lead in this game. It's been all Virginia since. On top 52-37. Notre Dame with a season recap. We're taking a look at the teams in the ACC. ACC tournament not that far away.
Tay Davis, one of the most improved players in the ACC, but Notre Dame's a different team having Marcus Burton back in the lineup.
Shot clock a factor now, down to 3. Buchanan with a dribble down. Can't connect. Rebound comes out to Pitt. Panthers trying to turn the tide here with about 10.5 minutes to go.
Jeff Capel continues to look for combinations to help them on both ends of the floor.
Diaz-Graham with a miss from the corner. That's Jorge. The twin brothers at 6'11" and 7 feet. McNeely giving up the dribble. The bounce feed. Robinson, a collision, no whistle, and wave off the basket.
I believe that may be a good basket, though. Ron Groover calling it off, and the foul was on the shot attempt.
That'll go against Cameron Corrin.
So, Obi, watch. There's no foul here. That's not the foul. Nothing called. This is where the foul is. And that's a shot attempt. That should be a bucket.
We're going to take a look with 10-12 to go. They did get Cameron Corrin a Pitt for the foul.
So I believe that's going to be a good bucket.
Under review.
It is under review. Take a look.
Now, as a Panther fan, you may be saying, is this not a travel? And it was a travel before the foul. However, that was not called either. So without that being called, this is going to end up being a good bucket, an opportunity for a three-point play for Anthony Robinson, who has had a tremendous
The call stands,
impact.
no basket, will be a two-shot foul.
We're going to call it two-shot foul, no basket.
I don't know how the ball went in.
And hanging on the rim, I think is that.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because, but again, I don't know that he hung on the rim. This foul happens. The ball goes through the net. Now he's fouled, which is the only reason that he doesn't dunk that cleanly.
But he did shake the rim, and he did hang on it just long enough. We can take another look there to affect the shot. I think that's the reason why, as Robinson misses. Take another look.
Again, this is not the foul. The foul happens here. That's a shot attempt. So regardless, and again, maybe it's the reason as you're talking about because he was on the rim.
Had to be.
But it's still a shot attempt. He's trying to dunk the basketball, so he has all right to be on the rim. It ends up being a one-point possession for Virginia in comparison to a possible three-point possession.
Diaz Graham with a misfire got a great open look. That's a shot he typically makes. Again, making 59% beyond the three-point line. Here's Murray. Dai Dai Ames, the story of the first half, was 16. He has had 3 in the second half. Over the top, intended for Buchanan, never got there. The theft by Corrin.
And that's where Virginia's done a great job of not turning the basketball over tonight. And for the Panthers, they've got to take advantage of these extra opportunities when they get them.
Low on the penetration. Yes, that'll drop in. He has that ability to really make it soft up to the rim.
Yeah, much needed bucket for Jalen Lowe. Attacking the paint once again. The Panthers only shooting 34% from the field. And look at Virginia at 56, so they've gotten it done on the offensive end. But now as the game gets closer, Virginia can't play with pressure on them to be able to finish.
Already the open man, and that'll go down from three-point land.
And one thing you're not seeing, Virginia's not taking their foot off the gas pedal. They're letting the shots go. They're not waiting to the end of the shot clock when they have opportunities. Tane Murray on the last possession. They're letting it fly, especially when their shooters get good looks.
Knocked away. Buchanan got a hand on it. Now they've got a 3-on-1. Murray with a difficult angle, but lays it up and in. That's a tough shot.
And Virginia able to build the lead right back to 19 points.
Kev, thank you very much. And Virginia continues to play pretty solid basketball across the board in this one. Ames with a make gets him to 20. They're shooting 58% for the game. Corey just 8 turnovers and only 9 fouls. So they're staying away from fouling anybody. They're not stopping the clock.
And that's characteristics of Virginia basketball. They don't foul often and they don't turn the basketball over, so they don't give you many opportunities, especially when they get a lead, to be able to get back into this. And now they've stretched this out to a 21-point game in their favor.
So before that three-pointer there by Jorge Diaz Graham, it was the largest lead of the night for Virginia.
And now you're going once again zone pressure, but you can see we watched Virginia work on this pregame, so they were absolutely prepared for it. But now Pitt back into his zone defensively. Man-to-man has not worked with them. Virginia's ball movement, people movement has allowed them to be successful, especially when they're knocking down threes at the rate they have tonight.
Ames faking a 3. This is something they've done well all night, moving the ball so effectively. They got the open shot. It didn't go, but it's a big reason they have this lead. And 7 minutes to go here at Pitt. Dunn on the attack, tried to flip it up there. He drew the foul.
Obi, we talked about ball movement and player movement. Virginia doing things the right way. Blake Buchanan doesn't touch the basketball in this possession, but he makes a winning play. Watch him relocate and find someone to screen. Him screening Zach Austin allows for Tane Murray to get a wide open look. Murray shooting over 40%, knocks down the 3 ball, and it was a Tane Murray 5-0 run that pushed the lead back up for Virginia. But Blake Buchanan, that will not show up in the stat sheet, but that shows you how he's developing as a player and falling in line to exactly what Virginia needs him to do to be successful.
Guy's added a little muscle since last year, put on a little extra size.
Yeah, he did. And again, when you've got the best strength conditioning coach in the country, in Mike Curtis, you don't have a choice but to put on. And, you know, and again, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Mike was on me a little bit today.
A little bit. A little bit.
Well,
you know.
But I had to. Mike was on me because I come down the stairs with a pizza and 2 cookies.
And 2 cookies. You thought you were eating all of those. A whistle with 6:53 to go. And Leggett will pick up foul number 2.
Ron Sanchez continuing to coach up the young players. And again, you see the smile and the conversation. Ron made it very clear to us. It's about relationships. It's about these guys enjoying their time playing basketball at the University of Virginia. That's what it's about. It's not as much about the wins and losses, but of course that's coach talk, because for everyone else it's about wins and losses.
McNeely will bury one out of the corner. 63-44. Virginia just played a terrific game all night long, and they have owned the floor here in Pittsburgh. And this is going to be a very damaging defeat unless Pitt can rally and have a miracle run here in the next 6 minutes, because they were the team on the cusp of the NCAA tournament. In fact, as far as Lenardi, Joe Lenardi was saying earlier, I wonder what a loss like this would do on the cut. That won't drop. The follow is up and in by Robinson, who continues to get effective minutes.
Yeah, great minutes from Robinson throughout this game. And one thing that has not happened, Pitt has not been able to make Virginia uncomfortable at all when they have the ball in their hands. Virginia's done everything they've wanted on the offensive end throughout this game.
Leggett on the drive. The scoop, that's the prettiest play of the game. But they've needed a whole lot more of that. 65-46. And a near theft and a foul in the backcourt with 5:36 to go, as Leggett went for the steal and commits the personal.
A nice find from McNeely to Rohde. He was unable to finish it, but Robinson coming up with the putback on one end of the floor, and then on the other end, Ishmael Leggett attacking the basket. The nice left-hand reverse, but as you mentioned, not enough right now. The Panthers are going to have to find a way to make some threes, and more importantly, find a way to get some stops on this end of the floor.
A loss tonight for Pitt will be their 6th in the last 8 games. And this has been a pattern, unfortunately, for Pittsburgh. A strong first half of the season, then, conference play getting underway. Dunn will drill that one from 3-point land.
Jeff Capel right now looking for any answers on the offensive end of the floor. The pressure, trying to find a way to turn Virginia over as they get their opportunity to turn over here, trying to build some momentum.
Dunn with a pull-up pop from 3, and that clangs away.
That absolutely would have built momentum, but it ends up being a breakaway.
Wow. Quickly on the other end, Ames, no one raced back to get him. Dunn, after the miss, just kind of stood around.
And Jeff Capel just perplexed about the effort from his team throughout this game. He talked with Myron at halftime and just talked about how Virginia had been more physical. They were more prepared. They were more everything throughout this game. And when you have a net at 35, you're borderline, right? So when you consider a net 35, you're right there on that cut line for at-large bids. Quad one only 1 in 6. Now they do have 2 quality wins, but one of those 2, either at Ohio State or at home versus West Virginia, wasn't a quad 1 win. Right now projected as a last 4 in, but they don't have any bad losses. This will be looked at, because of Virginia's record, as a bad loss for the Panthers if they're unable to overcome this 18-point deficit with 4:39 remaining.
Let's bring in Myron.
Yeah, after last season's snub, Jeff Cable said he took a hard look at the non-conference schedule, which has helped him kind of get to this point. He said he doesn't pay attention to the bracketology as other guys on the staff will do that, but players I talked to said they are certainly aware of the importance of games like tonight's and those going forward as well.
Well, you know, they've already played the more difficult part of their schedule, certainly in the conference. They faced Duke and Louisville, Clemson, and just took on Wake Forest. Those are the premier teams, and Duke, of course, is head and shoulders. So that's been off the table already. The rest of their schedule has loosened up for them. And tonight was one of those games, frankly, they should be counting as a W.
Yeah, they should be counting as a W, but Virginia came in with different plans, and they have executed to perfection for the first 36 minutes of this game, but have to finish with the 4. Turnover there allows Leggett to get the easy bucket to make it a 14-point game.
Ames working on a 20-point game. Taking a little time off the clock. 9 to get a shot off here for Virginia. Rohde back for Ames. Some quick work there with a basketball and knocks it down. Boy, he could slam on the brakes.
Yeah, forgive me, I said 14. It was actually 16 at that point. Now Ames puts it back up to 18 and even further away from the Panthers.
Dai Dai Ames has had a terrific night for Virginia. And Pitt has not had a man to counter. Austin off target.
Andrew Rohde took a hit. Tommy Morrison sees it's going to call the timeout.
So we'll take the break as well. 3:22 to go. It's been all.
Dai Dai Ames has absolutely been our star of the night.
Game check-in brought to you by Allstate. You know, Pitt so good at home this year until tonight. So doubly disappointing. 10-2 here at the Pitt before encountering the Cavaliers here in the ACC tonight.
And Obi, we talked about it early. This looked like a team that had a hangover from a tough loss over the weekend, where Virginia also had a tough loss on their home floor by 1, but yet their spirit was a lot different in shoot-around earlier today, and it showed here throughout this game tonight.
Back up to 20 as Buchanan lays it in. He has 10 points and 9 rebounds, so on the cusp of a double-double. Rohde has 9 assists in the game. Our check-in brought to you by Allstate. 2:42 to go. And tonight, Dai Dai the story on a big Monday. 3 for 5 from three-point land. And a career high 25 and counting.
And the issue for Virginia all season long has been at the point guard position and also finding a reliable scorer other than Isaac McNeely on the perimeter. And tonight it's been Dai Dai Ames. He has taken over and got started early in this game. Looked confident from the start. And just as Ron Sanchez talked to us about, it's not his job. He doesn't determine the outcome. He determines how his guys feel about themselves, about their team when they go out onto the floor. And you can see that Virginia was in high spirits when they approached this game tonight.
In and out on the second. A battle for the rebound. Look at Buchanan
Look
hit
at
the deck. And triggers it for Ames, and he will stuff it in.
Blake Buchanan made that play once again. He's got to get a tremendous amount of credit for the way that Virginia's played. We know that Dai Dai Ames done it is Jalen Lowe just turned his ankle. So adding, in this case, injury to insult.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's able to get up and walk this one off, but turned his ankle on that possession.
And with some help, sprung back up. 73-54 Virginia.
You see Lowe going in, and that he may have turned both ankles, OB. The left one we saw, but the right one was a little hit. So he's able to get up and walk off, but Jeff Capel going to make some changes in the lineup down the stretch as Jalen Lowe checks out.
Amadou Kante at the line. Lowe and Leggett, terrific guards, but Virginia did good work on them really from the opening tip tonight. One of the many things the Cavaliers did very effectively.
Yeah, and Virginia's defense has struggled over the last 2 games. They've given up 50% from the field to their last 2 opponents in Miami and in Virginia Tech. But you can see the difference in when you're making shots. how you play on the defensive end of the floor, and they have been locked in on both ends.
Austin with a turnaround, swishes it in. 1:45 to go here at the Pitt. Ames the story with 27. Exploding tonight for Virginia. And they've shot the ball as a team really well all night.
Yeah, Pitt right now in a zone defensively, going to sit back and allow Virginia to be able to just run the clock down.
On the cut, McGinley with a kick. Here's Ames. They leave him open again. Not this time.
It's still a positive possession for Virginia because you use the entire shot clock.
Austin straight on. In and out. Got a great look. And he's very reliable from 3 at 40%, but we're under a minute to go.
Dai Dai Ames has absolutely been the star of this game. But the production that Virginia's gotten from Blake Buchanan and Anthony Robinson on the interior, that is not something that will go unnoticed by Ron Sanchez, Jason Williford, Orlando Vandross, the staff at the University of Virginia. They will absolutely make sure to praise the big guys, the young big guys on the interior for their performance.
McNeely short. They'll get another crack at it. And Rohde with 9 assists in this one, had 7 on Saturday against Virginia Tech. That was a heartbreaking defeat. Well, tonight an entirely different story. Virginia came out ready to go. Despite the first couple of possessions, from that point on, they really took off and absolutely buried the Panthers, who never really got back in it, did they?
They absolutely did not, and this could be a very damaging loss for the Panthers when you consider where they sit with their net ranking as well as where they sit as far as bracketology is concerned. To this point, the first bad loss for the Panthers this season.
And the final will be 73-57. That's a stunner as Pitt goes down at home to a Virginia team that just